From the moment he was drafted all the way to now, Marcus Stroman has always had pretty big expectations. He was the 22nd overall pick of the 2012 draft by the Toronto Blue Jays and was right away looked at as the most major league ready player in that draft class, and sure enough, less than 2 years later in May of 2014, Stroman was called up to the big leagues. In 7 major league seasons with the Blue Jays and Mets, Marcus Stroman has made 173 starts and has thrown over 1,000 innings with an ERA of 3.63 while getting named an All-Star in 2019. All of that has earned him a 3-year, $71 million contract with the Chicago Cubs. All of that is great and all, and Cubs fans have reason to be excited as Marcus Stroman happens to be one of the best free agent starters on the market. But Marcus Stroman also happens to be very paranoid. Throughout his career, Stroman has acted like everyone doubts him, uses his short height as one of the reasons why, has gotten into several benches clearing incidents, several players don't like him. He once got into a feud with Alex Cora and called him salty over not playing for the Puerto Rican World Baseball Classic team, accused the New York Mets front office and ownership of racism, and supported posts on social media that endorsed eradicating white people. Marcus Stroman was originally drafted in the 18th round of the 2009 draft by the Washington Nationals, but chose to go to Duke University instead, and that probably ended up being the right choice. In over 162 college innings, Stroman pitched his way to a 2.55 ERA, struck out 226 hitters, had a strikeouts per 9 of 12.5, and was one of the highest touted pitchers in the 2012 draft. Those big expectations landed him with the Toronto Blue Jays with the 22nd overall pick, and off his career began. Well, at least for a little bit. After starting off his professional career on the Blue Jays Single-A team, he would get promoted to the Double-A team on August 1st of 2012. But just about a month later, Stroman found himself suspended. What he did was take a performance-enhancing drug that I'm not even going to remotely try to pronounce. He of course said it was something he unknowingly took, which is what everybody says, but whether that was true or not, Stroman was hit for 50 games. Stroman went on to throw over 111 innings for the Blue Jays Double-A team in 2013 after returning from his suspension, pitching his way to a 3.3 ERA, striking out 129 hitters, and by the end of the year, ended up being listed as the top 3 prospect in the Blue Jays organization, being a part of Major League Spring Training Camp in 2014 and become the opening day starter for the Blue Jays AAA team. Just about 1 month later, his big league career began, and it only took a few months for Stroman to be involved in some drama. What Stroman did was decide to throw over the head of Orioles catcher Caleb Joseph for something that happened earlier in the game, going on to get suspended for 6 games, with it later being reduced to 5. This was just the beginning. During a game between the Jays and Rays hitter Logan Morrison flied out to center while facing Stroman. On the way back to the dugout, Morrison started to yell out at the mound while Stroman yelled back that he wasn't talking to Morrison. This was likely a miscommunication, as Stroman would go on to say afterward that he was yelling at himself for self-motivation, with Morrison even admitting that Stroman was probably doing that. The next year in 2017, during a game between the Blue Jays and White Sox, Marcus Stroman was facing Sox shortstop Tim Anderson at the plate, and after striking him out on a 1-2 pitch, mumbled something. Anderson didn't like that, started to jaw back and forth with Stroman, and the benches cleared. It never got out of hand, but after the game, they had some strong words for one another. Stroman mentioned how Anderson talking to him after the strikeout made 0 sense, with Anderson saying this, quote, "He's going to try to throw me off, so why not step out and try to throw him off? It was one of those things. I stepped out and he just complains and cries like he always does. That's what it led to." End quote. This was the start of other players and teams having issues with Stroman. 2019 had a couple of instances between Stroman and the Red Sox, starting in a game in Toronto when Stroman quick-pitched Michael Chavis. Chris Sale and Chavis both yelled something at Stroman after the at-bat, resulting in umpire Alan Porter ordering Alex Cora and the Red Sox to stop. After the game, Alex Cora talked about how Stroman competes a certain way and people don't like it, while Stroman said he didn't care what Chris Sale had said to him as his beef was between him and Chavis. Stroman then took to Twitter, tweeting out that Cora was probably mad that he didn't play for Team Puerto Rico and instead Team USA during the World Baseball Classic. Cora went on to clarify his comments on radio soon thereafter, saying, quote, "It's the Stro show. He's on the mound, he does his antics, and he gets under people's skin. I was with the Astros, and people from the dugout were screaming at him. I'm with the Red Sox, and people from the dugout are screaming at him. It's part of it." End quote. Stroman never forgets anything and made sure to keep this incident in his memory banks, because he'd bring back his antics during a game later in the season against the Red Sox, this time at Fenway. After striking out Eduardo Nunez to end the 6th inning, Stroman screamed toward the Red Sox dugout at the top of his lungs.
Tendy not going, and it's strike 3 called to get Martin.
No, and he struck him out. And look at the reaction.
Oh, please.
Nothing of note ended up occurring after this, but it really showed how energetic Stroman can get and how capable he is of getting under opposing players' skins. And this would only continue. Stroman opted out of playing in the 2020 season due to the pandemic, but was back at it in 2021, arguably having the best season of his career so far. In 33 games started, Stroman threw 179 innings to the tune of a 3.02 ERA while winning 10 games but lost 13 because, well, he was on the Mets. The great 2021 season that he had didn't go by without the lack of some drama sprinkled in. During a game against the Arizona Diamondbacks, Marcus Stroman had just gotten Josh Rojas to pop out. Rojas had some words for Stroman, Stroman barked back. It was just your typical yelling match with nothing coming from it, but this was just yet another incident of Marcus Stroman getting other people mad. It took until just the next month for something else to happen involving the Stro Show. After John Nagowski of the Pirates lined out to end the 5th inning, he was frustrated that his hard contact went to waste, while Stroman jumped up and yelled because he got out of a jam. The two started to yell at each other, the benches cleared, and that was the last of benches clearing incidents in 2021 for Marcus Stroman, but the drama never stops. Before the Major League Baseball lockout began, big contracts were being given out like Christmas presents, and Marcus Stroman was one of them, getting $71 million from the Chicago Cubs over the course of 3 years. But before that, Stroman didn't fail to bring up racism and throw shade at innocent people. Robbie Ray was coming off of a really good 2021 season with the Blue Jays, throwing over 193 innings with an ERA of 2.84, striking out 248 hitters, and winning the American League Cy Young Award. Kevin Gausman, who pitched for the Giants in 2021, also had a really good year, throwing 192 innings with a 2.81 ERA, becoming an All-Star for the first time in his career. There then came rumors that the New York Mets were interested in both of those guys, so of course Stroman had to take it personally. Throughout the lead up to Stro signing with the Cubs, he liked several tweets which hated on Steve Cohen and the Mets, along with tweets that insulted Robbie Ray and Kevin Gausman while making it about race. The first tweet we'll look at here is the one that suggests the only reason the Mets were interested in Ray and Gausman over Stroman was because of the color of his skin and that nobody ever wants to see a black man succeed. Here's another one that says people don't like black men having a voice and speaking their mind. Stroman then threw even more shade over at Gausman, liking a tweet of someone who said he'd choose him over Gausman any day, and then another tweet that was saying that he's better than Kevin Gausman by a wide margin, followed by yet another tweet that suggests Ray and Gausman aren't proven and Stroman is. You then have the worst one, when Marcus Stroman liked a tweet that said this: "Please, I effing hate white people. Can we please eradicate them all?" I can understand that Stroman doesn't actually want to kill all white people, and was probably just really upset at the time, but you obviously can't just be publicly liking tweets that endorse the idea of eradicating them all. It makes you racist. Marcus Stroman, whether you like him or not, is someone who gets under a ton of people's skin for a variety of different reasons. He's a really good pitcher, but undoubtedly comes with some baggage. Let me know what you think about Marcus Stroman, and thank you for watching.